Good morning everyone. Welcome to hopefully the final episode on the turbo build. We've got a lot of buttoning up and finishing little things off to do, but hopefully by the end of this episode the car will be driving properly. So hopefully if it isn't too dark as well by the time we get finished, we'll take it out for a little test drive and see what it's like. But we have got a few things to do today. Dale is on his way, but this is the list of things that we've got. So we've got a small fuel leak coming from one of the nuts on the inlet, so hopefully that just needs reseating. We've got to wire the fan and do the brackets for the electric fan. We've got a thermostat to go into the water pipe work. We need to adjust the tappets to make the engine sound nice and smooth. A pressure switch. We've also got centre console wiring where the boost valve is. Track rod ends we're going to change. Then we've got to set the car up so it starts every single time, and then we've got to fit the bonnet. And that's the list that we've got to do today. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get this all buttoned up today and you can actually see the car going down the road, maybe hear the dump valve as well, which is the bit I'm most excited about. So Dale's on his way, and we'll get sorted and I'll start recording when he's here. Okay, Dale is finally here. He was only 20 minutes late, but I'll let him off. This is his friend Cameron, who wants to learn a bit about mechanics. Say hello, Cameron.
Yeah.
You don't mind being filmed, do you?
No,
Too late anyway. Right, we're going to start off with the electric fan on the radiator. So Dale is just putting these tabs on to stop metal rubbing on metal, and then we're going to plastic on there, and then we're going to put these through the radiator. They've even supplied a toothpick to poke through the radiator, and then we've also got some washers as well, which all the kit is down there. So we'll watch Dale do this, shall we?
No. I don't think it matters. Where are we going with the wiring? That side. That side.
So we've undone the two bolts on the top down there, just so we can get enough space for the radiator to go through.
Oh, where's Casper? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, it's there and there.
Do you want the toothpick?
Where Casper is? Don't matter. So we'll do the bottom one first.
So you see Dale's camera focuses. He's poking it through. And then that toothpick should show Dale where you push. Did you put the washer on it?
Washer goes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to do it again. Oh, hang on. Take off. Oh, no, that's right, yeah. And then where are the pads?
There.
That's all right. It's all right.
About that. So I don't know how much you'll be able to see because Dale's got fat hands. He's just going to poke that through, and that should go all the way through, which it does. Now I'll do the other side. Might be able to see it a little bit better from this side. You'll see the toothpick poke through in a second.
Oh, yeah.
There it is, look.
Oh, I haven't done this one, have I? Right. Yeah, Cameron, do you want to put these together?
Wash it.
Put one of them on. Oh, look, how did you get out of like that?
Pulled it.
One rips. So you can just set the other two up like that, yeah? Yeah. Set up. Oh, so I've got it. Done it. go, you can just see the toothpick.
And then he pokes it through and that should go straight through the hole.
Okay, that's beautiful.
There we go.
Oh.
And then the rubber pad is already on the other side.
Oh, someone's putting it in the cooler and like, yeah.
There you go. You've got one set up there, Cameron? No, we don't need the nuts on, mate. You want the pad on.
So you set the other one up like that, yeah? Oh, I see, yeah. I just saw 4 washers, you got 8 in, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't put a washer on it first time. Idiot.
Take that through.
Ugh.
Like so. Okay, so we're going to do the tappets. Got to take this off, and to do that you've just got a series of bolts which I've actually already taken off around there and the other side as well. So Dale will now take the...
Ready?
Yep.
Oh, it's glued on. Jesus.
That's why it didn't leak. I think there's one up there.
They normally pop off. Normally, up here. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, it's a dead blow.
I'll put a hole in the side of it, yeah.
There we go.
I think Paul Aradol it off. Split the gasket, do we?
I think that's got it, yep. Okay. We'll just push that down there.
Clean, isn't it?
And there we go. That's the cover off. So we shall see if we can do the tappets without taking the inlet off. Okay, we need to take the inlet off, which is quite annoying. You'll see why when we come to do it, when we come to do the tappets. But Dale is now going to do that. Typically, I've tidied up all the cables and everything ready. So now they've all got to come off.
Should be right.
So we'll start off taking one of the boost pipes off.
Ooh, yeah. I need long reach 13.
Okay, we're going to do the tappets now. So it's worth noting that exhaust side is 25 on the feeler gauge.
20.
So these are the feeler gauges. And the other side is 25, sorry.
Yeah. So we'll use this
so you can see
that's too big.
Yeah.
So that's 1 inch and 1 down.
Yeah.
What's the inlet on this? You want to learn?
I ain't a fucking clue. As I said, I don't know
So
much about
I would say this one here is, this one's inlet. This one's inlet, isn't it?
It's where your valve sits.
Yeah, so where your valve sits is where...
That's inlet. That one's exhaust.
That one's
Because
exhaust.
that'll open to let the gas out.
So we'll just show you that. So, oh, lift the camera up, Marcus. This one here is for the exhaust, because you can see it's in line with the exhaust. Same here, and all of them the same. And the inlets are then sort of here, basically, because the valve is this side. Okay, so
Oh my god.
Dale's going to try it. Let's have a look.
Well, that's 35 together. We can't quite get 35 in. 20, so we can get 30 in. But you can get 30 in. Yeah, look,
Yeah.
they're supposed to be 25.
So they're supposed to be 25 and we can fit 30 in. So that sort of rattling noise, the engine sounding a bit rough, that's why. So Dale will now demonstrate how you do this.
There's about it. So what's going to be done for me, yeah.
Tight.
A little bit. Can you just hold that there? Got it? Yeah. Just so I can undo him. Come on, you bugger. Tell you what, let's drop that back. Hold that there now. We'll get it better from there. Right.
So one side, and put the feeder gauge in. And you should just feel some resistance, if I'm right in saying that, aren't I?
Yeah. I got a bit past the resistance because when you do the 19 mil up, it brings the whole lot down. So that's, I can't get that out yet.
Yeah.
And I'll show you. This is where people go wrong. So when you do this up, you can't get both spanners in there. One. Oh, I make sure these are in V. Yeah, they're pointing. One's that way, one's that way.
Yeah.
That's how you set them. You
Okay.
can't set them.
So with the lobes, you've got to make sure the lobes aren't sitting where you need to
On
put
them,
the
yeah.
feeder gauge,
Got it.
basically.
God, that's tight.
It's tight.
Can't even get that one in. Oh no, that's all right. That's, hello. Try not to bend that. Yeah, that's got enough. That's got enough on it.
Is that right? That
Yeah,
one, is
so
it?
feel it. That's the resistance you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's what you
Nice.
want. Right, and then that's all right. I presume that's tight.
Okay, so that's one exhaust side done and
That's
one
cylinder one done. Yeah.
inlet done. So that's from cylinder one.
And turn it.
And he's just turning the lobes. You can see. I hope you can see that the
So
lobes
we'll
are
do number
turning.
3.
You can also hear the compression as well.
Should we do number
So
3?
it's
to the
doing
next?
number 3 now. Is there a reason why you don't do 2?
Yeah, because they ain't come round yet.
Okay.
You
so-
could do 2 if you carry
Oh,
on
you just
spinning,
carry it
you might as well
around.
do
You might as
them.
well do 3 when it's there.
Yeah,
Okay.
then till, I think 2's, no, then 4's the next one, and then it'll be
Yeah.
on, I think.
Okay.
20. Bit loosey-goosey.
So that's loose, that one. It's a bit loose.
Amazing, you just do it a little bit. Ends up being too bloody much. Yeah, you go back. Slippery hands.
This is number 4 being done now. Right, I'm just going to explain how I actually do it. So this nut here, this one here, that holds it together. So you crack that off, and this one above it is what adjusts it with. Okay, so you adjust it with that. Once you've got your resistance in there, you then lock the bottom nut, and that should be right. Is that right, Dale?
Yep.
Okay, so that is how you do the tappets. Obviously this is, I'm demonstrating from this side, but it's exactly the same the other side. So it's actually now a week later. We were hoping it was going to be a day, and it wasn't. Paul Burrows, who built the engine, came over yesterday to see whether Dale had missed anything, you know, a fresh pair of eyes. And all it was the HT leads weren't quite pushed on enough. And we'd had these leads on and off a lot of times, but so when you're here till 7, 8 o'clock, we'll push them on, we thought they were on and they weren't. What we've also done off camera as well is we've fitted this thermostat here, and we've done the wiring, which is on this relay here. Now, there is a reason why I haven't filmed this, is because if you don't know what you're doing with wiring, it isn't really worth the risk. So we could have done a how-to, but I mean, we did a little bit of a how-to with the EFI loom, and I watched Dale do all the soldering and stuff like that, and which wires go to what, and I wouldn't want to attempt it. So this is why I don't film any wiring, and also as well, if anything happens and so I want to watch this video and something's happened, we don't want to be liable or anything like that. So that is why we haven't filmed any real wiring and how to wires. We can show you where to put them and things and where to run them, but we don't really want to show you the connections. So it's all filled up, tappets have all been done, inlets all back on. So now if Dale wants to turn the key, we're going to fire this up from cold. So Dale's got the keys in his hand. Also, of course, we put the bonnet back on. Everything's back together now, so it looks like a car again. So Dale's now going to fire it up.
You ready?
Yep. Ooh. I hope you can hear me through the engine. I'm going to shout a little bit, but it sounds so much smoother than the last time you heard it. So Dale's done the tappets now, so it sounds a lot better. So it sounds amazing. We've clipped back these so they don't start getting hot, but I'm going to buy some sleeves for them. But yeah, everything's done and it runs. So we're going to take it for a test drive now, and we'll film that for you, and we'll see how that runs. So we've had some issues. You saw the car running up and down the road. and it's misfiring. And it's misfiring because on this one here, spring, or whatever it's called, the valve, it keeps sticking. So when you start the car, it runs perfectly. As soon as we put some revs on it, it sticks down and then starts misfiring. So we're going to have to take the head off and see what the issue is. So it's another thing to hold us up, but hopefully we can sort it. Okay, so the head's off. We've had a little check in the bores. They all seem all right. So we take it over to, I'll take it over to the head now. Number 3 is this one here.
For the exhaust, yeah.
So for the exhaust, so this is the one that was sticking. So we need to have a little investigation of what to do. So before we start, Dad's going to take out the follower. So you crack the big nut with the 19, loosen it right off, and then the 15.
Take spring off.
Take spring off.
And then that back.
And then you wind that back. I hope you can see properly. So, and that's the
Follower.
That's the follower out there. So now we need to try and see. Now we haven't got the spring tool. I can't remember what it's called now. Spring compressor. Paul will be bringing it tomorrow. He's coming back over tomorrow because we'll need to take the spring out to then get the valve out, I'm assuming, and then we can actually have a look to see why it's sticking. At the moment, on close inspection, we can't actually see why it's sticking, because if you look through there, I mean, you can't see anything because it's dark, but when we look through it, every single one of the valves looks exactly the same. So until we get the bit tomorrow, we're not going to be able to tell. So we'll see you tomorrow, and for you it'll be about 2 seconds.
To be fair, that does look like it's bending this way. From the workshop back here, and a tiny little detour just to make sure everything's all right. As promised, the test drive is going to be to go and put some front tyres on the car because they're a little bit bald on the inside. We also need to get the track, and I also need to get the tracking done. So that's what we're going to do. But what I will do before we go is I'll show you around the engine, because that's all finished, all in the engine bay, and you can have a look at that. Okay, so this is the engine bay, all finished. I hope you can hear me well enough because obviously the engine is running and it sounds really, really sweet. So everything's finished. I do need to give it a wipe down in here because it's very dusty when we were doing things. So let's go and get some tyres on the car. Okay, here we go. Hopefully it starts up again. So prime. Perfect. So we had a lot of issues in the end with this car, and this bit of filming is actually 3, maybe 4 weeks from when we first did it, obviously because we had the issues with the head. What it was a bent valve. You can see in the picture there with Dale that it's bent with the straight edge. We didn't film any of that. That is purely because all of us were getting a little bit annoyed. Paul came down and who built the engine, and he helped us put a new valve in and everything else. We don't know why the valve was bent or how it bent. There's no blame towards Paul at all, because you know he didn't know either. But the valve was bent. Every time you revved up the car, it stuck down. So obviously the head had to come off. You saw us with the head off. So we put it all back together. You saw the little video of the car going up the road when it was all done, but we did have some issues. Right, anyway, let's get going. We did have some issues. When we got the head all put back together, car started and everything else, and we took it down the road, and something just wasn't right. It wasn't boosting properly still. So we put the car back in the workshop, lifted the bonnet up, and you could hear the engine. There was something going on with the engine. It wasn't hunting because everything was in time. It missed. It's very difficult to explain, but it sort of missed every few seconds, but it was continuous. So hunting is where it does it sporadically, but this it was almost in time. It was like something was telling the engine to do it. So Dale thought it was an electrical fault. He was a little bit worried that some of the wiring he had done maybe had come off, or maybe it's done a wrong wire somewhere, or there was a split in the line or something like that. So we had a little look. There was no splits in the wires or anything like that. We changed spark plugs again, we changed the HT leads again, and did nothing. We changed the dizzy cap again. We also took a dizzy out, put a new dizzy in. It didn't do anything. The only thing that was left was the ECU. Fortunately, Paul had bought an ECU with him, so we changed the ECU. 10-minute, not even a 10-minute job really, because as you can see, it's behind the glove box. Couple of minute job. Dale plugged it all in, fired up the engine, and the noise was done. So we took the car up the road, and that was the video you saw in this video of it going up the road with it absolutely spot on. So we've done all that. Car runs absolutely amazingly. We have had to just do some little tweaks with the fuel and things to make sure it starts from first time and stuff like that, and it's really good. And obviously the test drive I did do with it was just from the workshop to home, and then we went a little way up the A47, which is where I live, about a mile and a half. We did that just to test it. The only thing it has got, which we're not sure exactly what it is, and you might be able to hear it when I put my foot down in a minute, is there's a rattle coming from behind the dash. We think it's from the window. We think it's from the windscreen, like the regulator, the motor, because you haven't seen the video yet, but we took it out of this one to put in the grey one to see what it was like. Maybe it's not seated properly, but the car drives lovely. I'm going to put my foot down slightly. And yeah, she goes really well. I've not really hammered it because although it's a turbo engine, you know, this is my baby really, same as the grey one, so I'm not going to be hammering it all the time and things like that. It was more for show and the power to get past tractors, lorries and things like that, because the 1.6 engine just wasn't really quick enough to do that. You had to make sure you had almost like a 2-mile stretch of road to get past anything. But with this, it's just, yeah, it's incredibly quick now. I mean, it's not absolutely completely rapid and what have you compared to modern cars, but in a Cortina that weighs I think it's just over a ton, 1,000 kilos, it goes really, really well. I'm actually hitting some traffic on the A47 now, so I can't put my foot down anymore to sort of show you the rattle. But yeah, we're on the way now to go and get some tyres on the car. They're bald on the inside. I need to get the tracking done as well. So I've asked Ollie, who's obviously, it's his barn next door to our workshop. He works for Nissan over in Kings Lynn. I've asked him if they do it. I'm just waiting for a reply back. If not, I'm going to have to go to an STS or a quick fill so I can just get the tracking done. Because the first proper outing is Southend, which today is Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday 17th or 18th, whatever it is. And Southend is on the Saturday. So it'll be a interesting road trip, considering this car hasn't really done any miles whatsoever. So yeah, we're going to go to the tyre place now. I know some people, YouTubers, they'll film being at the tyre place and they'll have a chat with them and they'll do it all on camera. I'm not confident enough to do that. I mean, we've now got actually just over 200 subscribers. We had about 100, just under 100 when I first started filming this video 3 or 4 weeks ago. So obviously I'm not a big YouTuber, and I feel like I'd be a bit embarrassed to do it. So we'll get there and we'll get the tyres on, and we'll drive the car back home. I've got a couple of errands so I can get food for tonight and stuff, and stop at Morrison's and things for food tonight. So when we get back home, I will show you obviously the new tyres on it. The car has been cleaned since I did take it. Actually, yeah, that is a good point. I've lied to you, because the test run, I took it home. And then the next day I took it out to be washed, and I washed it with a jet wash over at Morrison's. So it's actually had 2 runs. But yeah, so far, I mean, it drives really, really smoothly. The 1600 engine that was in it was, to be honest, absolutely mint. And there are a few people in the Cortina scene that I know were like, oh, why are you taking it out? It runs absolutely mint, starts on the button. And it was a fantastic engine. But like I say, it just didn't have the power. Now, it was incredibly smooth. And I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever been in a Cortina or they've driven a Cortina, but they are incredibly comfortable. And they had to be, really, because they were the fleet car. So you were going up and down, you were going up and down motorways, because you had to be comfortable. And this is just as comfortable as what my daily car is, which is a Jaguar XF. It's just as comfortable. And you know, I mean, I'm going 35 miles an hour here in 4th gear, and the car is just so smooth. It runs really, really nicely. But when you do want the power, well, obviously it's an old car, so things do rattle around a little bit. When you want the power and you put your foot down, you get the rattles, and all of a sudden the exhaust wakes up, and it's just, yeah, it is brilliant. It is brilliant. Dale has done an amazing job. He really has done a fantastic job on this. When we were having issues with the ECU, which obviously we didn't know what the issues were at that point, we didn't know it was the ECU, we were changing everything, like I said, the Dizzy, HC, everything. And I was sort of looking at Dale, because I don't know what I'm doing. So I was sort of looking at Dale, looking at Paul, and I could see Dale was getting really disheartened. and obviously, luckily, it was the ECU. We sorted out the problem, and now the car runs absolutely mint. But Dale, you know, what a job you've done it, and Paul as well. Obviously, built the engine, because we have had to ring Paul a few odd times just to say, you know, have we done this right? What does this need here? And stuff like that. So Paul Burrows has been absolutely fantastic as well. And you know, when the valve stuck, he didn't have to come over and help us. He didn't have to, but he did. So Paul, thank you very much for that as well. But you know, definitely to Dale, what an amazing job. I mean, whether I'll be swearing on the way to Southend or not because the car breaks down or anything, well, is a different matter. But fingers crossed, I don't think it will. And it just, you know, I'm not going to be hammering it. You know, it's I've not put the engine in for that, so I'm not going to be hammering it down. We're going to be in convoy as well. There's going to be 6 or 7 of us. You know, it's an Evo, a couple of VXRSs or whatever they're called, another Cortina, Mark IV, Andy's Cortina, hopefully, if he gets that finished, and we've got 2 Capris as well. So I'm hoping this will be all right, and obviously there's a few of us as well, so if anything does happen to it, we can hopefully at least diagnose it. We might not necessarily have the parts if anything goes wrong, but at least we'll be able to diagnose it. But I think it will be absolutely fine. We did have a small petrol leak on the tank. You saw in a previous video us welding up the tank. Now I was using Dale's welder for that, and although a good little welder, the welder I have is much better, and we welded Jamie's with mine and that doesn't leak, and I think there was just ever so slight pinhole. So I put some chemical metal on. I did this yesterday. I jacked the car up, emptied the tank of fuel, and put some chemical metal on it yesterday, because it was ever so slightly, it wasn't even dripping, it was just ever so slight weep, and you could just see it on the tank. So you know, we don't want fuel leaks at all on this, because obviously, except fire, I have got a fire extinguisher in here, just in case the worst should happen. But yeah, really good. So I'm nearly at the tyre place now, so we'll get the tyres put on. If I've got a little bit of a clear stretch of road on the way back, I'll turn it back on and we'll put our foot down a little bit and see. But yeah, so let's get the tyres put on and then we'll see where we're at. Okay, so the tyres are on now. There's nothing really in front of me as I come up to this roundabout, so I'm going to give it a little bit and hopefully you can hear it. Obviously I can only go up to 60 miles an hour because that's the speed limit on the roads. So we're just coming off the roundabout now. So she does go well. I have just noticed that when I do put my foot down and I'm holding it on boost ready to change gear, that it's always holding back ever so slightly. But other than that, it's absolutely spot on. So we went from 2nd to 3rd to 4th, straight to 5th, and got up to 60. And so I'm now just cruising along. I don't know if you could hear the rattles as I was going, or if you could hear what I said earlier, that, you know, when you cruise along it's fine, and then all of a sudden when you put your foot down it almost comes alive. I don't know if that will come across on camera. But yeah, I'm dead chuffed with it, really pleased with it. Looking forward now to taking it to some shows and showing it off. The engine bay really let the car down for the last sort of 6-7 years, however long I've owned the car. And I used to be a bit embarrassed of lifting the bonnet up, because when the car was restored, the engine was the only good thing in the car, so I didn't want to start messing around with it and taking it out and everything else. So the engine bay didn't get touched. You'll obviously see, if you've been following, you'll see in the previous videos of when I did the engine bay, of what it looked like to what it looks like now. It looks $1 million now. And also the good thing is, again, if you did watch that video, that you would have noticed that the paint wasn't the right colour in the engine bay. We don't know why, we haven't got to the bottom of it still. But now everything's in the car. When you lift the bonnet, you can't really tell. You know, unless obviously you're watching the videos and you know. I don't think you'd go up under the engine bay and go, oh, that's a different colour to the body. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. So I'm going to take it to Morrison's now and get some bits for dinner, and then I might take it for a few little run, just up and down the A47, just to make sure it's all alright. But yeah, touch wood, she's absolutely mint. So once again, thank you very much, Dale, and thank you, Paul, and thank you to all the subscribers, the new subscribers as well. I think mainly from the Escort video that was put on, the abandoned Escort. We got it running after 17 years. I think that's where most of the subscribers, recent ones, have come from. But thank you very much, everyone. If you've enjoyed this video, I know this is going to be a quite long video, or it is quite a long video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, but please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, that's easy for me to say, and put some comments on of what you think. We'd really appreciate it. But until the next episode, it shouldn't be on this car anymore because it should be finished. So they should be all on the Escort now and the blue Cortina. But thank you very much, guys.